We're back. We are back. I come from a land down under. Refresh channel. What's good, Amir? What's good, Eddie? What's good, Polar? What's good, all the boys? Get into the post fight, start recapping a little bit. Bro, that card was fucking crazy. That card was crazy. There was so many fucking upsets on that card that I feel like you don't even realize it, like when you're actually going through the card. It's only when the card actually finishes that you kind of go through and you can appreciate like upset, 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 upset. But then there was one that we knew. There was one that we knew wasn't going to be an upset. We knew that MKAHCHEV was going to go out there and take care of business. We knew that he was going to go out there and handle business, and that he did. That he did. Like the stream, like the stream, like the stream. Push it out to a few more people. Push it out to a few more people real quick if you like the stream. Then we're going to get into post-fight in like 2 minutes. Still can't believe Merab beat Umar, brother. That's one that kind of blows my mind. We had so many upset, that by the time we got to the main event, I was actually low-key kind of thinking to myself, I was like, could we fucking see something here? Could we see something here as we get to the main event? But no. No. Islam does Islam MAKHaCHEV things. Islam gets it done. Islam might have the best darts in all of grappling. Like, he might actually have the best darts in all of grappling. And I'm not just talking about and I'm not just talking about jiu-jitsu. Like, as soon as he gets that locked up, it's so tight, so fast. You see on the replay, if you're still watching, Renato Moicano tries to go flat, but Islam does such a good job of wedging himself in under that it just means he can't go flat, and then he's fucked. Then he's done. It's just tight immediately. Kevin Holland getting cooked made me cry. Yeah, that was a tough one to watch. That was a tough one to watch. I'm going to actually pull up the card because there's a bunch of fights that I don't remember, but there's a bunch of fights that I barely remember on this card. Like, I can barely remember anything that isn't the main card. Gonna go through it, run through it really quick. Well, not really quick. We're actually gonna be here for a minute. We're gonna be here for a minute, breaking it down, talking about it. For one beautiful moment, bro, when I thought that Moicano had dropped him, let me make myself a little bit bigger here. Ooh, wrong screen. Let me make myself a little bit bigger and drag myself all the way over here. When I thought that Moicano had dropped MKAHCHEV, the emotions that went through my mind in that like 30 seconds. Did Lily Boy just tweet out calling out MKAHCHEV? I'm pretty sure he did. But the moment that, like, the 4 seconds where I was like, oh my God, did he drop him? That 4 seconds, my heart honestly skipped a beat. Like, my heart legitimately skipped a beat for those few seconds where I was like, there's no fucking way that he actually just got dropped by him. 4 people lost their O tonight. Damn, 4 people lost their O. Let's start at the bottom, making our way up. Tagir did Tagir things, took care of business. Bernardo Sopaj pretty much took care of business. This one was a huge upset, man. Rinya looked bad. Like, Rinya looked really, really, really bad. And I don't know what the fuck he was doing in this fight. He just refused to shoot. Like, he refused to shoot. It doesn't make any sense. It was like if Merab went in there to that co-main and just refused to shoot. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. I was talking about this a little bit on the watch party, but why you go in as an under 21 freestyle wrestling world champion? You are a freestyle wrestling world champion, and you go in there and strike for 3 rounds. It was honestly like watching Bo Nickel, but if Bo Nickel was getting cooked. Like, I feel like if Bo Nickel was getting cooked against Paul Craig, he'd go in there and he'd just wrestle. He'd be like, okay, fuck this striking shit. It's not for me. I'm just going to wrestle him. But he refused to wrestle. Huge upset. Huge upset. Muin Gafurov, who was what? 1-2 in his last 2. 3-3 inside the UFC, going up against Rinya Nakamura, who I had on prospect list, who I thought was good. Like, I really, really thought that Rinya Nakamura was good. And he just didn't perform. Didn't perform even in the fucking slightest. Women's MMA, snoozer. Stop playing and put the freaking fight in stream next time. Brother, do you know how fast Dana White would bust through this window and fucking... It wouldn't even be Dana. He'd send Islam after me. And Islam would have me fucking dorsed immediately. It's hard to do a dorse on yourself. But I would be absolutely cooked, Kentucky fried, absolutely fucked if I tried any of that, bro. If I even tried to play 1 second of the audio, they'd come in there and bum me. They know I would set a personal death squad after me. Bro, this Peyton Talbot fight, I have to talk about this Peyton Talbot fight. I'll talk about these other ones in a second because there was some good performances here. But this Peyton Talbot fight, I have to talk about this Peyton Talbot fight. I'm not sure people understand how big of an upset this is. I'm not like this. This is probably upset of the year. That's honestly probably upset of the year. Like, it was mind blowing to me that Peyton Talbot came out and looked that flat and looked that terrible. Like, it's almost like, it's like Space Jam or something. It's like he lost all MMA ability, because most of the time with these prospects, okay, a lot of the time with these prospects, when you see guys get fraud checked, then that's definitely a fraud check. I don't like to use the term fraud check a lot, or I think it's kind of a little bit overused, but Peyton Talbot 1,000% got fraud checked today. We've seen him wrestle before. We've seen him go out there and wrestle guys. We've seen him grapple. We've seen him submit guys. And not just like the shower bullets of the world, you know what I mean? Not just people that can't grapple at all, people that can't wrestle, like people that have looked good. We've seen him go out there and wrestle. And for some reason, Raoni Barcelos was able to go out there and barbecue him. Like, Raoni Barcelos, the most takedowns that he had ever landed in his entire UFC career, and he's been in the UFC for a minute now, was 3. He landed maybe 9 against Peyton Talbot. I feel like it was definitely close to 9 against Peyton Talbot. Wild. Absolutely wild. And honestly, Peyton Talbot on the feet didn't look that good. Power didn't look that good. Speed didn't look that good. Didn't look that fast on the feet. Like, I do not understand it. I don't understand how Peyton Talbot went from that Cameron Simon performance where, like, we remember that Cameron Simon performance, bro. That Cameron Simon performance was good as fuck. That was a really, really, really good performance where you go out there, prodigy versus prodigy matchup, and you dominate. And then we saw him go in there against Giannis Kamori. Smoked Giannis Kamori. Wasn't even close. I do not understand how someone can look that bad that fast. Because Raoni Barcelos was a gimme fight. I said in my pre-fight thing, I said, these are gimme fights for prospects, and Dana White needs to start giving these prospects harder fights. And they both lost them. Breadman, I appreciate the $2 super chat. Shout out, Breadman. Is the bantamweight division cooked now? It might be. Bantamweight might be cooked. Because who beats Merab? Honestly, boys, who beats Merab? Who goes out there and beats him? Do you see Corey beating him? I don't see Corey beating him. Umar didn't beat him. That broken hand thing, I do believe that Umar had a broken hand. We're going to need to see x-rays. We're going to need to see a whole bunch of it because, you know, we've seen that a ton. We've seen that a ton from fighters. Apparently, Colby Covington broke his leg 4 seconds into that Leon Edwards fight. So I want to see x-rays. I want to see actual confirmation that he broke his hand, and then maybe. But the thing about Merab is Umar fought well. Umar's the better fighter and still managed to lose that fight. And it's like, it sounds strange, but you need to finish Merab Valashvili. You cannot beat Merab via decision. With Merab, it's a 3-round fight. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says about 25 minutes. With Merab, it's a 3-round fight, okay? If you don't win the first 3 rounds, you lose the fight. Guaranteed. If you don't finish Merab, 90% of the time, you're going to lose the fight. And I don't really see who beats him. Because if you watch those first 2 rounds, of that Umar Merab fight, okay? Merab couldn't take him down. Could not take him down at all. Could not live with him on the feet. Anytime he tried to take him down, he got reversed pretty much instantly. It does not make any sense to me that Merab ended up winning that fight, but his cardio was such an unbelievable weapon. Like, his cardio is such an unbelievable weapon that he's almost impossible to beat. He's almost impossible to beat unless you finish him. Because if you let Merab get to round 4, if you let Merab get to round 5, he is winning those rounds. You just aren't winning those rounds. Because Umar's a guy, we saw 25-minute cardio against Corey. His cardio against Corey was not bad, but Umar's just able to push and 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 push you to a place where you're inevitably gonna break. And that's what happens. We say the fly and featherweight are cooked, then dominant champions, the dominant cooked division. Merab's as dominant as it gets, and I'm interested to see who they give Merab next. What do you think, boys? Who do you guys think Merab could get next? Who's the next defense for Merab Valashvili? Who's the next defense for Merab Valashvili? Also, another thing about that fight, I think the fight was close. I think that Merab Umar fight was close. I meant to get onto it a little bit later, but we might as well fucking talk about it now. Fuck it, we're talking about it. I think that fight was close. One thing, I think that the UFC scoring needs to be changed a little bit. 1,000%. We need to, like, give points for takedowns. Takedowns 1,000%. They need points given for them, and we need to, like, pretty much, like, judges should count takedowns pretty highly. We also need to count takedown defense. How many shots did Umar defend in that fight? A ton. And how much credit did he get for it in the judges' eyes? Probably 0. That needs to change. That needs to change in the UFC rules. Let's see. Who do the boys think? Who do the boys think? We have Merab, Sugar 2, Sugar, Pantoja. Oh, yeah, the 49-46 was also crazy. The 49-46 was one of the wildest scorecards I've seen in a long time, where it's like, fire him, not even firing squad. Yeah, we need to get him gone off the face of the universe. Yeah, gone, finished, finito. Jan versus Sean 2 for #1 contender. I don't want to see Jan go up against Merab again, honestly. As bad as Sean O'Malley did against Merab, and I thought that Sean O'Malley didn't look good, and I thought that he fought badly. Jan, like the Jan fight, I thought that Jan fought decently. Jan is just such a horrendous stylistic matchup. Jan is literally one of the worst stylistic matchups. But yeah, no, I think that Merab's going to lose via age, because he is starting to get up there now. He's 34 nearly. He's going to be 35 by the time he defends next. And someone's going to need to KO him. And I think that guy's probably Sean O'Malley. The big thing for Sean O'Malley in that fight, if you're asking me the #1 key for Sean O'Malley, if you're going into a fight against Merab, is you can't worry too much about your cardio. And that's going to sound counterintuitive. That's going to sound stupid when you think about it, because you go, bro, obviously you need to worry about your cardio. Merab is fucking like the best cardio, maybe the best cardio we've ever seen inside the entire UFC. Like, I'm at that stage where it's maybe the best cardio we've ever seen inside the entire UFC. You have to be able to, once you hurt him, because we saw Umar kind of hurt him at the end of that first round. Didn't really push. Henry Cejudo hurt him. Didn't really push. If Sean O'Malley hurts him, if Sean O'Malley actually manages to clip him, we need to see him go in there and try finish the job. We need to see him go in there and actually try finish Merab. Another thing is, it has to be a 3-round fight if you're Sean O'Malley. That's a 3-round fight. That's a 3-round fight. You're not going to win round 4 and 5. No point doing it. Legit, no point doing it. You're not going to win round 4 and 5. You have to win the top 3. Sugar versus Jan 2 is the fight to make. I think so too. I think that they're going to give it to Sugar. I think that Sugar is going to get the title shot. I think it's like, it just makes sense. Pay-per-view buys. They want Sean O'Malley to be the champion again, even though I think that Umar's kind of carving himself out of lane. If he continues to have good fights like that, Umar's kind of carving himself out of lane to be a well-liked UFC champion. And it just makes sense. Like, there's nobody really else. Corey Sandhagen, I don't really see it. Corey got dominated by Umar. I don't know, the MMA math doesn't make sense. Petr Yan's already been dominated by him. The Sean O'Malley fight was at least close. You can make an argument that the Sean O'Malley fight was 48-47. Makes perfect sense. You just have to go out there and clip him and not be scared of his cardio. Because that's honestly the biggest problem that I saw for Sean O'Malley in that first fight. The biggest problem that I saw for Sean O'Malley in that first fight was that he was worried about his cardio. He was worried about him gassing. I don't think you can do that going into Merab. Merab almost breaks all the UFC rules, where it's like, everything you think that you should worry about going into a fight against Merab, you can't worry about. You can't worry about that. You can't worry about your cardio. The cardio, he's going to have better cardio than you. You're going to gas in round 4 and 5. He's not. But I do trust fighters to not get finished. I trust fighters to not get finished against Merab in that round 4 and 5. I don't see Merab finishing, guys. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But even if someone's gassed, like we saw Umar was pretty gassed in that round 4, that round 5. I don't really see Merab finishing them. Like, I just don't see Merab having that finishing power. Maybe through ground and pound, he might be able to get somebody towards the end of the 5th, but I don't think so. This fight was good for Umar's development, his cardio and defense, and definitely got better. You know, like, the crazy thing is, bro, Umar's the better fighter. Everybody can see that. Everybody can see that Umar's the more skilled fighter. Maybe not better, but the more skilled fighter. Still doesn't win the fight. Still doesn't win the fight because Merab has one thing. It's crazy. Like, it's honestly blows my mind. Because if you're a really good striker, but you can't wrestle at all, you're not going to win inside the UFC. If you're a really good wrestler, but you can't strike at all, you're not going to win inside the UFC. Or you're going to win, but you're not going to be a champion inside the UFC. If you're really good at one thing inside the UFC and not good at the other stuff, you're not going to win inside the UFC, apart from Merab Valashvili with his cardio. Because we saw right in front of our eyes, Umar's probably a better wrestler. Umar's definitely a better striker. Like, Merab's striking is bad. He's like inflatable aRMAN swinging at people like this as he like walks in. It's kind of like DDP style, but DDP without the technique. But he still wins because his cardio is better. And he's going to take you to round 4 and he's going to take you to round 5 and he's still going to be fine in round 4 and round 5 and you're not. And you're not going to be fine at all. Umar's only 8 months older than GSP was when he lost his hair, bro. Still has his best years ahead of him. Oh yeah, I still think that Umar's going to bounce back. Don't get me wrong. I still think that Umar's going to, like, I feel bad for whoever fights Umar in his next fight. I think Umar's going to go out there and fuck somebody up in his next fight. Really, really fuck somebody up in his next fight. And honestly, one of the biggest learning experiences that I think for Khabib, for Umar, for Javier Mendez, for all of those guys going into that fight is the game plan. I think Umar's game plan in that round 4, that round 5 was bad. I think his game plan in those last rounds was just bad. It was just a bad game plan. Why are you shooting when you're already tired? If any of you boys have never wrestled before, yeah, wrestling is incredibly tiring. If you think about everything that wrestling is, shooting, defending takedowns, sprawling, you're going out there, you're trying to pass somebody's guard, you're trying to take them down, you're swinging them down. It's all super explosive movements. Super, super explosive movements. That's not what you want to do when you're tired. When you're tired, you don't want to be out there exploding constantly where you're trying to get that single leg, you're diving on the single leg, you're squeezing onto the single leg, you're trying to take them down, you're trying to run the pipe. That's not what you want to do. That's not what you want to do if you're super tired, especially if you're the better striker. If I was Umar in those last rounds, I would have been saying to Umar, forget the takedown. We don't need the takedown. Win the battle on the feet. Win the battle on the feet. Push him back a little bit. Push forward. Aldo Sandhagen, I think, is next. No, Aldo's not going to get Sandhagen. That doesn't make any sense. Aldo's coming off a loss. It's because of their pride. You think so? It's because of their pride that you think that like Umar just doesn't want to be the guy to not take them out, because I'm not gonna lie, the takedowns work. The takedowns were working. First and second round, those takedowns worked. But when you get to those, when you get into those deep rounds, that round 4, that round 5, is that really still gonna work when you're going up against a Merab Valashvili, when you're going up against a guy that probably has the best cardio inside UFC history? I do think the scoring system needs a bit of a revamp, but honestly, Merab looked good on the feet there too. Well, he didn't look good on the feet, but he looked good for his cardio on the feet. You know what I mean? Like, Merab was able to still put in good work on the feet. It was actually a very DDP-like performance. It was a very DDP-like performance where it's not clean. It's not pretty by any means. In fact, it was an ugly, ugly performance. It was actually a good fight, but it was an ugly, ugly performance, but he manages to come out and he manages to get a decision. What I think of aRMAN versus Ilya as a possible matchup, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see aRMAN against Ilya, especially if Ilya is committed on coming up. If Ilya is super, super committed and he wants to come up and that's all he wants to do is come up, I like it. I like aRMAN against Ilya because Ilya is going to want that number 1 shot right away, but I don't think he's going to get it. I don't think he's going to get it. Running through some of the other prelims really quick, because we did see some good performances on these prelims. These two were kind of mediocre. Billy Elikana, I think that guy might have a future at 85. I think Billy might have a future at 85. He came in weighing 200. He gassed after the first round, but he did look good in that first round. But yeah, no, he gassed bad. MKAHCHEV, he might be a problem. His only problem is that it's middleweight. Middleweight has another prodigy. Like, middleweight just has prodigy. But he looked good here. He looked good here. Managed to finish him via ground and pound and like put Zachary Reese to sleep. Like, Zachary Reese was kind of there. It was like Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell, where he was like hobbling, getting out of the cage, and it was just ground and pound. It wasn't even like a crazy flash KO. It was like, it was ground and pound type shit. You know what I mean? Hill should fight at 185. He's fat. Another fight I want to talk about. Let's get on to this one. Jiri Prochazka against Jamal Hill. Jiri Prochazka and Jamal Hill. This one was the fight that I thought it was going to be. I think it's probably fight of the night. Actually, I'd probably give fight of the night to Merab Umar. But this is a close runner-up in terms of fight of the night. I think it was good, man. I think it was really good. Jiri Prochazka surprised me because when he's talked about, oh, I want to keep my hands up a little bit more in this fight. I want to be a little bit better with that. It was kind of like, yeah, okay, duh. You want to keep your hands up when you're fighting. But he didn't really do that. But his head movement looked good. And his defense did look good apart from that. He was able to slip and he was able to counter Jamal Hill really, really, really well. And what I feel like he was able to do best was his cardio and his ability to take damage. Like, he was able to just out-cardio Jamal Hill in a 15-minute fight, which does not bode well for Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill came into this fight out of shape. He came into this fight pretty much not completely out of shape, but when you see him in there in the cage, I don't know if it's what he's doing when he's rehydrating. I don't know if he's cutting too much weight. I don't know if he's originally not in the best shape, but when we see him weigh in, he looks in decent shape. Like, he doesn't look in bad shape whenever we see the guy weigh in. But as soon as we see the guy inside the cage, it looks like he puts on 15, 20, 25 pounds. And it doesn't look like it helps him either. I'm not sure what Jamal Hill does next. I think that the Khalil fight's actually a good fight. I think that the Khalil fight's actually a very, very good fight. And I think that's not only a very good fight, I think that's a very, very interesting fight. What they do with the rest of 205, I don't know. I don't know what they do with the rest of 205. Because you have Yuri Prochazka there. Do we want to see Yuri against Alex 3? No. In my mind, not really. Like, watching that, one of the biggest things coming out of that Yuri Jamal Hill fight is, god damn, Alex Pereira is good. And god damn, Alex Pereira's power is different. Because we saw Jamal and Yuri slug it the fuck out. Like, they were throwing at each other and they were hitting each other clean. But neither of them were able to really hurt each other until we got to that third round, until obviously Yuri eventually knocked out Jamal Hill. But with Alex Pereira, it was one punch KO power. That's what it was. It was, you're going to sleep when I hit you. And he did that multiple times to Yuri, and he did it to Jamal Hill at the biggest stage in round 1, UFC 300. So Alex Pereira, like, I'm not sure what they do with 205 because he's too dominant. Who beats him? Who beats Alex Pereira? Give me anybody that you think that beats Alex Pereira. The only person in my mind that I think actually beats him is probably you give it to Dricus. I think Dricus might be the guy. I think Dricus is a bad matchup. The way that we saw Khalil kind of with his blitzes trouble Alex Pereira, I think that we could see the very same thing with Dricus du Plessis, and Dricus du Plessis go out there and trouble Alex Pereira. But I don't know what they do at light heavyweight. Honestly, don't know what they do at light heavyweight. But Yuri Prochazka looked great. Yuri Prochazka looked great. Went out there, won the fight. It was a close fight going into that third. I think I'm pretty sure I had a 1-1 going into that third round. And Yuri Prochazka, I don't know what he does at 205 now, but it's almost like a Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, where we know Yuri Prochazka is the second best guy. But you're never going to beat the best guy. You know what I mean? We know that you're not going to beat the best guy. And I think that that's the situation that we're in. Ankalaev, we'll talk about a little bit more. I'll talk about Ankalaev in a minute. I'll talk about UFC 313 in a minute because that did get announced. But for Ankalaev, I think that there's a lot of stuff that's going against him. I think that the UFC have really, really carefully picked out when Ankalaev goes to fight Alex Pereira, because Alex Pereira is the golden goose. He is the guy for the UFC right now, especially in a weak division. And we don't want Ankalaev. We don't want Ankalaev to win that fight. We want Alex Pereira. We want our golden duck back at the top of the UFC. Then you look down here, Gelton Almeida. Honestly, I know I fall into this trap a lot with heavyweights. I think Gelton Almeida could be the guy. I think Gelton Almeida could be the guy to challenge Tom Aspinall if his chin is okay. Because we saw his chin against Curtis Blades looked bad, man. His chin against Curtis Blades looked bad. Like, it looked really, really bad. I'm not going to lie to you. And that KO, it was almost due to stupidity. It's like, yes, brother, if you hang on to a single leg and you get hit 40 times in the temple, eventually your brain's going to go, uh-oh, time to shut down and go to sleep. If he doesn't do stupid shit like that, he looks incredible, bro. He looks incredible. He just dismantled Sergey Spivak. And it kind of shows you that, like, gap, that, like, rift in between the top guys at heavyweight, the very top guys at heavyweight, and everybody else. That was number 6 against number 7. Sergey Spivak, Gelton Almeida was number 6 against number 7. It could have been 6 against 20. That's how that's honestly how I felt the fight was. It could have been 6 against 20. Where you have Gelton Almeida, who just pretty much dominated the fight. Went out there, got taken down, reversed the takedown, ground and pound, finish, done. And I think that Gelton Almeida is very underrated at 265 because he kind of just shit the bed at the wrong moment. Where you look at, he was going up against Derek Lewis in kind of the first big fight night that people were bigging up Gelton Almeida, and he was this guy at heavyweight, and he had all of these finishes, and he was looking really, really good. And then he shit the bed, and he had a 25-minute just super boring fight that nobody really gave a fuck about, or, well, people gave a fuck about it, but it turned more people into his haters than into his fans. I think if he has that at any other point, people don't hate it that much. But it's the fact that he did it fight night main event, 25 minutes, and it was a boring fight. But apart from that, if you can look past that, you look at Gelton Almeida, you look at the guys he's beat. Beat Spivak today inside round 1. Pretty much everybody that he's gone up against inside the UFC, he's beaten inside 1 round. That's what heavyweight needs. And Gelton Almeida can definitely keep up with Tom Aspinall in the grappling. Striking is another thing, but can definitely keep up with Tom Aspinall in the grappling. And he might be able to take down Tom Aspinall, and he might be able to submit him. I think of all of the guys at 265 right now, the guy that I want to see most fight is Gelton Almeida. Or sorry, the guy that I want to see most fight Tom Aspinall is Gelton Almeida. Let me know if you guys think anybody else that you guys think other than Gelton Almeida. Umar humbled, Peyton fraud checked, Merab still champ, Yuri won, Drikas will finish Strickland, Pereira will sleep MKAHCHEV, MAKHaCHEV will fight Taporia, life is good. I'm not sure we see all of those. I can't lie to you. Sergey Spivak is probably the best blob of the heavyweight division. He's just in that tier below. Like, the tiers are so consensus now, where you can see John Jones, Tom Aspinall, yeah, right here, right at the top of MMA, not just the top heavyweight, right at the top of MMA. Then you have the others, Cyril Gane, you know, you have Gelton Almeida in there, you obviously have Alexander Volkov in there, you're going to have a Curtis Blades in there, like, they're in that tier. And then the tier below is everybody else. The tier below is Spivak, Rosenstruik, Tuivasa, like, there's not really, and then it's just the rest, like the rest of heavyweight. But it's so segmented. It's like no other division inside the UFC where you have this clear thing. 6 to 7 is a bigger jump than 7 to 20 in my eyes. That's honestly what I think. That 6 to 7 is that fucking big of a jump. Then talking about the main event. Islam MAKHaCHEV is he's something special. He's something special inside the UFC, something special inside MMA. I think that like his mental aspect is got to be so strong, bro. He's got to be so strong mentally, because I know dude's meant to go out there and beat Renato Moicano. He still did it in dominant fashion, and also he might have the best fucking darce we've ever seen in MMA. I'm not even trolling, bro. Islam MAKHaCHEV might have, forget MMA, dude. He might have one of the best darces in combat sports, including jiu-jitsu, including Gordon Ryan, Craig Jones, Nicky Ryan, Nicky Rod, all of these guys. He might actually have one of the best darces in all of combat sport. Like, anytime, I knew immediately, as soon as before the darce even came in, as soon as I saw that front headlock position, I went, darce, that's probably the fight over. That's probably the fight done. That's probably the fight over. Islam MAKHaCHEV is just guaranteed gonna go win that fight. He's just guaranteed gonna go out there and win that fight. And he took care of business against Renato Moicano. There was a split second in my mind where I went, holy fuck, he might lose this fight when he got dropped. But apart from that, it was smooth sailing. Islam MAKHaCHEV does Islam MAKHaCHEV shit. I don't know who he has next. I'd like to see Islam MAKHaCHEV for a double champ shot. I don't know what they do with aRMAN now either, because aRMAN obviously missed weight and the UFC, or not missed weight, aRMAN got injured, and the UFC kind of don't like that. If you pull out, they're kind of going to treat you like a bit of a piece of shit. But I'd like to, I still want to see aRMAN Islam. aRMAN Islam. But I think the only way that we see it next is if Islam isn't the champion. I feel like that's the only way that we see aRMAN get a title shot is if Islam's going up for double champ and it's a vacant title. What's up for Moicano? That's a good question, actually. What do you boys think is up for Moicano? What do you boys think is up for Moicano? I still think, listen, did his stocks rise a bunch from that? Did he go 5 rounds with Islam MAKHaCHEV? We're like, oh my God, Moicano's one of those guys. No. But did his stocks dip that much? No. I think that Moicano took a fight on 36 hours notice that he probably would have lost on 10 weeks notice, that he probably would have lost on 12 weeks notice. And he went out there and got beat by the pound for pound number 1. I still think that he probably gets to fight up in the rankings. Wouldn't hate if they just straight up rescheduled Beneil Dariush, Renato Moicano. Literally would not hate if they just went, yeah, let's just rerun that fight in, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. Because Renato Moicano has 0 damage. Beneil Dariush weight cut but didn't take any damage. So I think that's a fight that they're just going to straight up rerun. Moicano's stock rose slightly, maybe in like the BMF terms. But I think in terms of like actual fight skill, like Moicano didn't really show a shit. He could kind of strike with Islam for a minute. But he didn't really look that fantastic in the striking. Had a split second where he dropped him. Paddy Moicano would be kind of cool, but Paddy needs to win a fight in my eyes. Ilya versus aRMAN for the interim. Islam moves up and Moicano fights Paddy. I think that Paddy needs another win. Max Holloway versus Moicano. I'm not sure that they give Moicano that push that fast. Moicano against Dariush again. I've just seen a pic on IG of Umar's broken hand. Does it look legit? Does that shit look legit? Because that's another thing about Umar. Umar did say that he had a broken hand. It's not really in the Dagestanis thing to lie. You know what I mean? Like, Dagestanis, no matter who loses, win or lose, most of the time, like Umar, or at least from what we've seen so far, most guys are not going to come out and make an excuse. So it would kind of surprise me if Umar straight after the fight was like, yeah, broken hand. Yeah, I broke my hand. That's just, and even then, he didn't really use it as that much of an excuse. His finger looks really dented. Max versus Islam after Max gets a W. I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Wouldn't mind seeing a Max Holloway against Islam MAKHaCHEV title shot. I think that Max probably, then again though, if Islam's coming up, you probably have to give it to Islam before Max. Probably have to give it to Islam before Max. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Just because, or you probably have to give it to Ilya before Max. Sorry, Ilya before Max. Because it is 7 o'clock in the morning, boys. You know, we've been live for nearly 8 hours now. Time's starting to tick. The words, the speech isn't speeching as much. Islam slipped too, yeah. That was a slip. I saw it at the end. I saw it at this monitor and I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked up and I saw that it was a slip. Moicano versus Gamrot may be closer in close in the ranks. Is that a downward step for Moicano? I think it is. I think that's a downward step for Moicano, and I don't think that the UFC are going to do that to him. I'm pretty sure that the UFC are going to be like, Moicano, you did us a favor. You hopped up. You did that. We appreciate you a ton. But yeah, no, honestly, I feel like that there's not that much controversy with this card either. Like, we haven't had a ton of controversy. There was only one really bad scorecard in the entire thing. And that was that, and it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter. It was that Umar Merab one. And I think that, listen, a bad scorecard's a bad scorecard. But as long as it doesn't matter, we can just get rid of that judge, not have him back. Guys, Islam subbed Moicano. Volk goes up in the GOAT list. What? Islam subbing Moicano. How does Volkanovski go up in the GOAT list off that? Max versus aRMAN. I wouldn't mind seeing Max versus aRMAN either. But I think that that's a bad matchup for Max more than it is aRMAN tsarukyan. I think that aRMAN tsarukyan's probably fine with that matchup. Like, aRMAN tsarukyan's probably like, yeah, shit, I'll take that matchup. If that's who you want to give me, if that's who you think's actually going to be able to beat me, shit, we'll take that. Ilya, please stay at 145 till Islam retires. I'd love to see that double champ shot, but I just don't think, like, why would Islam be like, okay, fine, I'll take another guy that wants to become double champ before I get my own shot? The only way that I can see that happening is if Belal is good. If Belal is just that good, to the point where we're looking at Belal as like, okay, Belal's got 2-3 defenses, and crazier shit has happened this year. I was absolutely sure that Umar was going to beat Merab. I was absolutely sure that Umar was going to beat Merab, and he ends up not doing it. So crazier shit has happened, but that's what I think it needs to happen. And honestly, I'm not 100% sure that if Belal gets 1-2 defenses, even 3 defenses, that Islam wouldn't be willing to go up there and fight him. I think Islam would probably be willing to go up there and fight Belal, because yeah, they're cool, and yeah, they kind of have done 1 or 2 camps together. Doesn't matter that much. Doesn't matter that much. I really think that if Islam wants it, Islam will go and get it. People forget T-City also submitted Moicano. Like, Moicano's not incredible, you know what I mean? Like, he's good, but that was way out of his depth. You could kind of see that, you know what I mean? Like, you could kind of see that he was out of his depth there, where it's like, okay, hold on a minute. There's a huge difference between number 10 and number 1. There's a huge difference between Islam MAKHaCHEV and everybody else at that lightweight division, especially not named aRMAN tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira. That it's like, it was like a knife through butter. You know what I mean? Like, that's how simple it was. It was, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to pass your guard. Fuck me, bro. The hiccups are coming. It was, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to pass your guard. And then from there, you're not going to be able to do anything. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Oh my God, bro. What are you going to be able to finish? And then as soon as he got back up, and as soon as we actually saw a semblance of hope for an Adam Moicano, the Darce was there and it was over. Islam and Belal won't fight. I think they will. I think if it gets to it, Islam and Belal for sure will fight. This win for Islam is like Volk's zombie win. Yeah, they're pretty similar. Like, listen, it's a fight that everybody expected Islam to win. Islam went out there, still did it inside 1 round, still looked dominant. Fuck me, bro. Hiccups, man. How do I get hiccups at 7 o'clock in the morning? I literally, what's the shit for hiccups? How do you get rid of hiccups again? It's like drink water or something. I know it's like be scared, drink water. There's a whole bunch of different shit to stop you getting hiccups. I've also heard what really works is if you just say like, I don't believe in hiccups. Hiccups do not exist. What is a hiccup? Is a hiccup? Fuck. I was close. You have to fully alter your mind state. Did the nostril heal while I was away? No, the nostril's still fucked. I'll be real. Super bummed that Umar lost, but Merab did win. I still feel that Umar was the more skilled fighter and won 2 rounds. Couldn't agree more, Yusuf. Islam or Umar's more skilled. Merab's just difficult to beat, man. Merab's just so difficult to beat. Peyton Talbot wrestling equals Leon Edwards wrestling. I don't know, the wrestling skills seem similar. No, Leon's a good wrestler. Leon's actually a good wrestler, bro. Like, Leon's a straight up good. I'm going to fucking lose it in a minute. 141, 141. 6:43 a.m. for me. Or it's probably 6:41. Just try to swallow your breath 3 times. Jay, if this works. I'm trying to do it one more time. Harry, come to Boston. Trust me, Boston would be kind of low-key vibey to go to. Look at your DMs when I'm done. My DMs on what? Discord, Instagram, what? Use a bit of water to do that. I know that chugging water is meant to do it. Like, chugging water is meant to be, like, the best way to do it. There we go. That's like 500 milliliters down the hatchet. They've got to go now. Anyway, I want to get on to UFC 313 a little bit before we dip out of here. I want to talk a little bit about UFC 313. Pereira against MKAHCHEV. This fight should be lit. It should be lit. These are all the announced bouts that we have so far. Loki, it's looking like a good card already. It's looking like a really good card already. And they have a co-main that I don't mind. They have a co-main that I really don't mind. This Justin Gaethje-Dan Hooker fight. Justin Gaethje-Dan Hooker is the type of co-main where we know that's going to be a banger. And it's 5 rounds. It's going to be an absolute heater fight. Yes, there's not a belt on the line. I understand that there's not a belt on the line, and some people want 2 belts for every event. But this is the type of fight where it doesn't matter if there's a belt on the line or not. Like, this fight is going to be good. This fight's going to be super watchable. Super watchable co-main. It's like super fan friendly. Like, is there any doubt in your mind that Justin Gaethje-Dan Hooker ends up in a really fun fight? Is there any doubt in anybody's mind that that is going to be an incredible fight? There's zero doubt in mine. Zero doubt in mind that I can go out there confidently and go, that's going to be a fight of the night type fight. That's going to be a fight of the night type fight, guarantee. They should have robbed Merab to save bantamweight. Now it's dead. No interesting championship fight. No interesting prospect. No interesting ranked fighters that haven't fought already. I can kind of understand your quarrel a little bit. But I like to watch dominant champions, and I want to see who can beat Merab. Who can go out there and beat Merab? Because Umar was close, bro. Like, Umar was close. Umar's 1 round. Umar's 1 takedown. 10 strikes more away from beating. So it's not like he's unbeatable. But I think that it's going to take a little minute for Umar to get that second shot. I'd be very surprised if Umar's not the champion soon. Very soon. And I think that Merab's going to need to start defending pretty fast. Because 1, legacy. 2, money. 3, he's getting old. Merab's getting old. Super old. And then the main event. I do want to talk about the main event. Alex Pereira against MKAHCHEV. I want to talk about this a little bit. Alex Pereira against MKAHCHEV is an interesting main event because you can see that they've done the Aljamain Sterling Sean O'Malley shit here. They've done the Aljamain Sterling Sean O'Malley shit here where we go, okay, we're going to give you this matchup that everybody wants to see. We're going to give you this Magomed-Ankalaev matchup that everybody wants to go and see. Okay? But we're going to give you Ankalaev in Ramadan, which is a big thing, bro. That's a big thing for not only inside the cage, okay? Where I'm pretty sure he might not even be able to drink water in between rounds inside the cage, but all of his training camp, like one of the big parts of weight cutting is water loading. One of the big parts of weight cutting is water loading. Not going to be able to drink a lot of water. His nutrition's going to be weird. His dieting's going to be weird. This is a fight that if they let me bet, I would not be surprised if Magomed-Ankalaev missed weight in this fight. I would not be surprised if Magomed-Ankalaev missed weight in this fight. You rarely ever see Muslim fighters, especially strict Muslim fighters, take fights during Ramadan because it messes up your entire training camp. Like, imagine doing an entire training camp with no water. Imagine waking up and not being able to eat, or you have to wake up super early if you want to be able to eat or drink. Like, that's not a good spot to be in, you know what I mean? Actually, I forgot. Main events are at night. So he will be able to drink water, and I think it might be just after Ramadan ends. But this is the perfect situation for Alex Pereira. I also do think that Magomed-Ankalaev, first of all, we have to know what he's going to do in his game plan. Because how many times has Magomed Ankalaev come out there and said, I'm not gonna wrestle. I'm gonna strike with him. I'm gonna strike with him. I'm gonna show that he's the better striker. And that might be the downfall of the Dagestanis. Low key, the downfall of the Dagestanis might be their pride. If Umar doesn't wrestle with Merab in that 4th and 5th round, think he could probably win that fight. Think he probably goes out there and wins that fight. Now I'm starting to burp because of all the water. If Ankalaev goes out there and strikes with Alex Pereira because he thinks he's the better striker, he's going to get slapped. He's going to get slapped. Like, it's almost a guarantee that he's going to get slapped. So it's, can Ankalaev wrestle him? And I'm not even sure if Ankalaev will be able to submit him. Because people don't know this, but Ankalaev has 0 career submissions in professional MMA. Not 0 career submissions inside the UFC. 0 career submissions in professional MMA. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Like, that's bad. That's not good, especially if everybody's plan for you is that you're going to go out there and you're going to submit this guy. Merab is officially the GOAT. For me, he's 1 fight away. For me, Merab is 1 fight away from being the GOAT. I think he's close. Don't get me wrong. I do think that Merab is definitely close, but I think he's 1 fight away from being the GOAT for me. I think I still would have Dominic Cruz above him, and I still would probably, he might leapfrog Aljo. He might leapfrog Aljo, but I think that he is still 1 fight away from being the GOAT for me. If Pereira defends the first 3 to 4 takedowns, it'll probably be over, even if Ankalaev wrestles. Yeah, that's the problem for Ankalaev. Is that with Alex Pereira, it's like ticking time bomb. Him and Ilia Topuria, very similar. Ticking time bomb situation. I need to finish this guy. I need to get this guy out of here. Because Alex Pereira, we've seen in the striking, we don't really know in the wrestling, but in the striking, Alex Pereira does not get tired, bro. Just does not get tired. His style is so conducive to fighting 25 minutes. His style is conducive to fighting for fucking 50 minutes. Just slow walk forward, and as soon as you mess up, that left hook comes, and you go to sleep. But yeah, no, 313 looks like a fucking unbelievable card. Looks like a really, really good card. And honestly, if Alex Pereira doesn't open up as a favorite, boys, hammer the Alex Pereira money line. I'm telling you right now, hammer that fucking Alex Pereira money line. Because he looks like he has the perfect situation. Ankalaev in Ramadan. Alex Pereira on a win streak. Alex Pereira coming in healthy for the first time ages. He's not filling in on short notice. He's not getting bumped up. And he's probably been fucking, like, he's been training wrestling for a long time now. He's gone in there thinking, Yuri's going to wrestle me. Yuri's going to wrestle me. Yuri's going to wrestle me. Yuri doesn't wrestle him. But he still has all that work from that camp. Jamal Hill's going to wrestle me. Jamal Hill's going to wrestle me. Jamal Hill's going to wrestle me. Still has all that work from that camp. Like, he's going to have been wrestling a lot. So I'd be surprised if Alex Pereira's at least submission defense has not improved a lot. And I think at 313, bro, Alex Pereira is a fucking, he should be a big time favorite. He should be a big time favorite going into that fight with Ramadan, with everything going on around it. How long have I been awake? I've been awake since 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. 1 p.m. for me. So not crazy long, like 18 hours, 19 hours. But that's the grind. That's what it takes for the UFC. That's what it takes for the UFC. That's what it takes to do the post fights, to do, you know, do the entire watch party. We've also been live for nearly 8 hours now. Live for nearly 8 hours. Merab isn't the GOAT. Dominic Cruz wasn't finishing anyone either. Yeah, no, I'm not going off just finishes with that. I'm going off strength of schedule, going off who he beat, when he beat them. Because when he beat them is more important than who you beat, in my mind. You know what I mean? If you beat, I don't know, fucking, I'm trying to think of something. If you beat Tony Ferguson now, yeah, it's not that good of a win. If you beat Tony Ferguson when he was on his 11-fight win streak, holy shit, that's huge for the resume. That's a huge, huge, huge win. So I feel like a lot of Merab's resumes, people that are staring at Tapology, going, he beat him. But it's out of prime, 40, 4-fight loss streak, 3-fight loss streak, going down in a division that he should have never probably been in. Like, that's what a lot of Merab's fights are. And bear in mind, Merab is still probably the second best 35er of all time. So I'm not discrediting him that much, but I just think that he's not the greatest of all time. Is Magomed chinny? I'm not really sure if he's chinny, but the problem for Magomed Ankalaev is anybody against Alex Pereira is chinny. Anybody. Like, there's nobody on the planet that isn't chinny when you're going up against Alex Pereira. What do you mean? Tony's just getting into his prime? My bad. I've got the Tony title run this year. The Tony title run this year is almost guaranteed. It's almost a guarantee that it's almost a guarantee that Tony will go on a title run this year. I could see the same way that he's gone on an 8-fight loss streak. Who's to say he couldn't go on an 8-fight win streak? Who's to say that he couldn't go on an 8-fight win streak? But yeah, everybody's chinny in front of Pereira. Like, all it takes is one punch. All it takes is that left hook. And we saw that tonight. We saw that with Israel Adesanya. First of all, Izzy's chin must be fucking incredible. Like, Izzy's chin has to be otherworldly. But then also you see, like, Jamal and Yuri are smacking the shit out of each other. Like, actually beating the dog shit out of each other. And neither one is going to sleep. Alex Pereira hit them both once clean, and it was night-night. It was night-night, goodbye. They were finished. Talbot will be lucky to get ranked, and he's a disappointment as a mixed martial artist. He definitely is. Definitely is. Biggest, like, to go through some of my awards for this card. Performance of the night. I feel like it's hard to go anywhere, but I feel like Merab would probably get performance. Actually, I'd give it to Islam. No, Merab. I'm going Merab gets... No, actually, you know what? Fuck it. We're going Raoni Barcelos gets performance of the night. Upset of the night also should probably go here, but I'm going to give upset of the night to Merab because I was more sure that... Because I really thought the Merab was going to lose this fight. Islam MAKHaCHEV, fantastic performance. To be honest, I'd hate to be one of the people that picks out awards in this fight, because if you're just looking through, how many people deserve an award here? How many people deserve a bonus here? Islam does. Merab does for fight of the night, so Merab and Umar. Yuri does. Jailton does. Renata Ritter does. Raoni Barcelos deserves a bonus. Azamat MKAHCHEV probably deserves a bonus. Like, there's so many guys here with round 1 KOs. Also, what a fucking card to start the year. What a card to start the year, man. Like, it started off a little bit slow, but then we had crazy upsets. We were like, oh my God, what the fuck? Then we have decent fight, finish. Crazy upset. Like, that might be the biggest upset of the year. I'm not even joking. I think that that's probably the biggest upset that we're going to see all year. Mind-blowing. The fact that Raoni Barcelos was able to do that on the feet too, where he's able to outstrike him on the feet, mind-blowing. And then the main card where you have all finishes apart from one incredible fight, all finishes apart from what's probably the fight of the night. Like, yeah, it's different, man. It's fucking different. It's absolutely crazy that this is the first card we get of the year. And look at the second card we get of the year. This main card, yeah. This one's dusty, boys. This one is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous as a main card. Reca, Sean Strickland, unbelievable fight. Zhang Wei Li, Tatiana Suarez, unbelievable fight. Ass. I forget what other fight was on here. It was this fight. Ass. Good fight. Ass. Decent. Low-key, the 2 early prelim fights are better than a lot of these fights here. But what can you do? Anyway, boys, I appreciate anyone who tuned into the watch party. I appreciate anybody who tuned into this post-fight shit. Make sure to like it so it pushes it out to a few more people. You know, some people might wake up tomorrow and want to watch it. But anybody that stuck around, Amir, Toxic, Irare, Charmaine, Harej, like all of the boys that stuck around, that were in the watch party, that were here after Jacob, I appreciate you all more than